Hi, my name is Germie Bernard here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition. Unmatched on-track intensity. And triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Throw in a can't-miss concert, camping, and the legendary atmosphere of Talladega Boulevard. And you've got more than a race. You've got Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you as we resume the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's a game week. It is Alabama against Georgia coming up on Saturday in Athens. We'll start our show by taking a look at what's coming up. First of all in the program, then our headlines, thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young, the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up the show this afternoon. We'll start with a one-on-one conversation with Alabama wide receiver Germie Bernard to talk about his transition to Alabama a year ago from Washington and just getting more comfortable getting to be at the same school in back-to-back seasons after he's had an interesting journey from Michigan State to Washington, now here really finding a home in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama. Then we'll check in with the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, get his preview of what's coming up tomorrow for Hey Coach in the Kalen DeBoer Show, plus thoughts on Alabama against Georgia, not just this Saturday, but really through the years in Athens. Speaking of through the years in Athens, we'll dial it back to 2008, the blackout game. Alabama at Georgia. What a dominant win for the Crimson Tide. Quarterback of that team, John Parker Wilson, will join us as our Alabama Legend of the Week, talking about that dominant win in Athens. Headlines, taking a look at Alabama football. Obviously, the loss week one against Florida State. We've seen the Crimson Tide back it up with wins against ULM and Wisconsin. Open date this past Saturday, and now Alabama healthier and ready to go for the SEC opener coming up on Saturday. 6:30 Central will be the kickoff. Our radio airtime will be 3:30 all across the network. For the Crimson Tide, this is the first time that Alabama's been to Athens since the 2015 season. We will see that happen a lot more often coming up in the future because starting next year, the SEC is going to a 9-game conference schedule. 3 permanent opponents will be formally announced. We know it's out there a little bit informally with some reporting done by Chris Lowe of On3.com, but we will know the permanent 3 opponents for the Crimson Tide, at least for the next 4 years, coming up on the SEC network later on Tuesday night, and we will have more on that coming up on the Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Alabama athletics, some other notes. Soccer, impressive win in conference play against the team that won the SEC tournament a year ago, the Texas Longhorns. 4-3 was the final score. Larkin Thomason, another huge performance for Alabama as she recorded a brace. Jonna Paul with another goal as well. Good to see that victory against, again, one of the best teams in the SEC, the Texas Longhorns. Meanwhile, for the Crimson Tide volleyball team, they went 1-1 this past weekend at the Crimson Classic. Now everything for Rashinda Reed and the Crimson Tide will heat up this week, starting with the SEC opener coming up at Auburn on Friday night. Heating up for the Crimson Tide football team and for wide receiver Germie Bernard. He has certainly been a huge part of Alabama's offense once again here in 2025. We've seen him as a leading receiver for Alabama and also used out of the backfield as a running back at times. A very versatile player, and he joins us to talk about this 2025 season of Alabama football. Roll Tide and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover, pleased to be with you at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center. Pleased to be joined by Germie Bernard, Crimson Tide wide receiver, ready to go for 2025. And Germie, Roll Tide, man, how's this offseason been as you get ready for the year?
It's been a great offseason for us, as a team, just building that team camaraderie that we needed from last year. I feel like that's something that we lacked, and going into this year, it's been preached a lot. Just team togetherness, and our motto is unbreakable. So we've been through a lot as a team this offseason, and like we're at a stage now. It's like, all right, we got the bond that we needed, and now we're physically and mentally and emotionally there. So I'm just excited for this upcoming season and what we're gonna be able to showcase.
You're just excited to getting to be in the same place back-to-back years. I mean, you've been at Michigan State, Washington, now Alabama. Just what's it like? Not everything's so new this year as opposed to last year.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like, obviously moving around a lot and not being able to like interact with fans how you want to and allow people to get to know you, like who you are outside of just football. During this offseason, I was able to build a lot of relationships outside of football. do a lot of things in the community. So that's kind of been my main focus, is just letting people know who I am outside of my football show, because football is just is bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? So who I am is more important, than what I do on the football field. So I just wanted to be able to showcase that, and being here second year has allowed me to do that. So it's been really exciting.
What were some of the things you enjoyed most in the community?
I mean, honestly, just having an impact. Like, I was able to help Haha out with an event he did in Birmingham, and it was at a shoe palace or shoe station. At the shoe station, it was at shoe station, and just be able to go out there and share my testimony and have an impact to those kids and their families, sign autographs, take pictures. Like, it was really a blessing, and just to see how he runs his foundation and stuff like that, it's something that I'm trying to get into. So just for him to be able to give me the opportunity was a blessing.
Some of the football camps as well, your teammates did. Were you able to go to those?
No, but I mean, I was able to just see how everything they're doing. Like, it's huge, to give back. Like I said, it's bigger than just us, and giving back is something that we're blessed to do, because the Lord has been able to bless us with all these things, and giving back is something that he wants us to do. So I'm glad that everybody's able to do that.
Saw some great things from you on the football field last year in 2024. Where are some areas of your game you feel like you've taken a step forward getting ready for this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so when you're growing within football and the game of football, and you're getting close to the next level, you start finding the small details you need to work on with the game. So just like different, like route things, finding new ways to get open, and just being really technical. That's something that I focus on. But a big thing that I really focus on was being a more vocal leader. The coaches had challenged me that during this offseason, and I've always been a guy that wants to lead by example, but a true leader leads with his voice as well. And so that's something I've been working on.
What does that really look like? Is that a lot in just kind of the film study, kind of making sure you let your fellow wide receivers know what you're seeing on tape, or just different things you see in the locker room? How do you feel like you've stepped up as a vocal leader?
Yeah, I mean, as a vocal leader, I just feel like building relationships is the biggest thing, because everybody is not coachable, the same. So you have to find ways to be able to coach guys, and building those relationships off the field. It gives you the insight on how to coach guys, on how to approach guys, and you're able to lead them better, because they're more willing to listen to you. So I mean, just building those relationships and understanding who I'm talking to, and getting to know my teammates.
You know how tough the transition can be from going from high school football to being a freshman player in big-time college football. What was it like for you to watch your teammate Ryan Williams make that transition, make some big plays early last year?
I mean, I feel like when you're that young and you come in and you start off hot, that can really get to you. But I don't think that was something that got to him, and I was just really, really proud to see how he handled everything, and how he is handling everything right now, and how he's staying focused, throughout all the attention that he's getting. That can really deter someone from staying focused and stuff like that. But he's been able to stay focused through all of that, and it just goes to show that the community he has around him, has played a big part in how he's going about things. So, I'm just going to continue to support him, and whatever he needs from me, I'll be there.
You guys looking at Jalen Hale, Rico Scott, Cole Adams, some returners from a year ago, but you get to welcome in some newcomers, Isaiah Horton, Latsier Brooks. What do they add to the wide receiver room?
It just adds another element of being explosive to our room. Like, we got a lot of fast guys, a lot of guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands, make contested catches, make catches down the field vertical. So I mean, I just feel like we just added depth to our room. Like, we already had guys that can make plays, but now we have more depth, and we have trust in those guys to be able to go in and make those plays. So I'm excited for each and every one of those guys to have their opportunity during the season, and just to be able to see what they do, because I mean, they've worked so hard for that opportunity.
Speaking of working hard, how about Jalen Hale? I mean, scary situation with his injury. You got to see that, all the work he's done to get back and healthy for this season. How special is that journey?
It's really, really special. You talk about a guy being resilient, a guy that went through a lot emotionally, but now he's back at the point where he's better than where he was, and he has more strength and his speed is better. Like just to see that, man, you just see like how God works through you. You know what I mean? Like, and just for him to stay consistent within the work. I know he went through a lot of dark times during that period of not being able to play football. Like, I mean, he loves the game of football, and so for that, to be able to take for God to take that away from him, but for him to continue to stay faith driven and rely on his faith and just continue to stay level headed throughout that process, it's showing up in big ways. And Jalen Hill is a guy that's going to have an impact to this team, and I'm just really really blessed to be beside him, and really really blessed to see how God has worked within his life, and I'm excited to see all the fruits that he's going to reap.
You got to see firsthand how Ryan Grubb was a great and elite offensive coordinator at Washington when you're all there in 2023. What's it like to be reunited with him? What kind of offense does he like to run?
That's my guy, man. I love Grubb. He's always intense. He's a very diligent guy. He hones in on the details, and so I mean, I answer this question a lot. Like the system isn't really changing a whole lot, but like since he went to the NFL and came here, he's brought an offensive system here. So it's not so like it's not really like a college playbook to like the full extent. It's more it's all combined together. You know what I'm saying? So it gives us as an offense an opportunity to see how we're gonna conduct things on the next level and how things are ran. And then just, I mean, he's an aggressive OC, and he makes opportunity for the guys to make plays, and we have a lot of them. So I'm just really excited to see how explosive our offense is going to be.
You reunited with him. Once again, Coach Shep leading these wide receivers. I mean, how does he keep things fresh for you guys through what can kind of be some long, tedious times during either preseason camp or the season, but how does he keep you all motivated day in, day out?
So right now we're going through the Book of Job with Coach Shep. So like, just for him to have the foundation set on, Christ is something that's big for our room. We know that it's not us, and we know that God has given us this opportunity, and he has blessed us to play the game of football. So every time we step out there, he reminds us that like give God glory of like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because it can all be taken away from you, and like we have to realize that everything that we have and everything that we do is to show the world God's glory. So, and he brings that energy every single day. He reminds us of that. He reminds us of like how good of a player that we are, how good of men that we're growing into be. So, I mean, I just really love the relationship Coach Shep has built with each and every one of us, and he has brought our room together a whole lot. And, it's really a brotherhood. So I'm really thankful for Coach Shep.
We're hearing a lot of good things about Alabama's wide receivers, and a lot of the big reason why we're hearing some good things, you're getting some good quarterback play in preseason camp from Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell. What are you seeing from those three different guys as they get ready for this season?
I just think they all stay consistent, and they all put in the work to grow. They're here early in the morning. They're watching film. They're staying late, meeting with coaches, and like you see it when you go out there on the field. And it's really exciting to see all of your QBs have that same work ethic and not like get jealous of or envious of what another guy is doing. Like they all cheer each other on. So it's been really great to see those guys work.
Really good competition leading into the season. Once again, big home games coming up at Bryant-Denny Stadium. What do you love the most about this atmosphere and getting to be a part of it? I think we talked in this room before you had gotten to play a game here, but now that you've had a full season under your belt, what do you like most about this place?
It's just the support that they bring, and like the energy that they bring is different than like the other places that I have been. Like obviously, college football games they're gonna be hyped up and turned, but Bryant-Denny, they bring the energy every single game, no matter if it's a big game or a small game. And that's what I really appreciate because, sometimes when you do play those small games, not having that crowd behind you can kind of like impact your energy in the game a little bit. So I'm just glad that they bring that energy every single game, and it's really electrifying. And I know some of those games that this year that we're going to be able to play, like the Tennessee games and the Vanderbilt games, like I'm excited for those games because I know they're going to bring a whole lot of energy.
And do you like too going on the road and being kind of the villain? I mean, everybody's biggest game of the year is Alabama. You know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We know we are gonna get everybody's best because script A. It means a lot around the world, honestly. So we know everybody's gonna bring their best. And Coach Ballou always says like we gonna go on away games and we're gonna empty out the stadium. Like that's our mindset going into those games, and it is really exciting to be able to go into those stadiums and empty it out and just see the fans like at awe of what happened. So it's really dope to me.
That's definitely cool to see, and something we don't always get to see. Every now and then we'll see a clip on social media that Alabama football will put out or a documentary here and there. But how about Coach DeBoer in the locker room? What kind of motivator is he both pregame and at halftime?
Um, Coach DeBoer, he always stays the same. He never fluctuates. Like he's never high or too low. He's just always steadfast, and that really helps us because like he always just says like go out there and bring your best. Like that's all he wants from us is to bring our best each and every day, each and every game. Like he really has a want to know mindset. So like he doesn't really let like the negative plays affect us. He always be like the most important play is the next one. So he kind of just reminds us that and keep us in the right head frame. And even if we're up, what I'm saying, he helps us stay focused, and if we're down, he helps us stay focused. So like he's just always supporting. He's just supporting of his guys.
Want to know mindset. We love to see it all throughout this year. Germie Bernard, thank you for the time you've given us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Best of luck with everything this season. Roll Tide. Thank you.
Roll Tide. I appreciate you.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition, and triple header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Appreciate the time of Germie Bernard. Chris Stewart has gotten to say his name a lot on the radio for us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network with all the dazzling plays we've seen from Germie so far this season. And Chris returns on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR this week, to preview Hey Coach coming up Wednesday night, 6 p.m. at Baumhauer's in Tuscaloosa, and everything you need to know for Alabama against Georgia on Saturday. Chris, Roll Tide. It's finally Georgia week. It's finally SEC play for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, no question, Roger. And that is exciting. And here we go, because we know every week will be tough, and excited about the challenge. And I think excited to see what this team looks like against this level of competition. The only thing comparable this year was obviously Florida State. We didn't handle it well. But there's been 3 weeks to get better, and clearly that was the case against both ULM and against Wisconsin. But this is a whole different animal, literally, in the Bulldogs. So we're excited about it. Look forward to seeing how the Tide can fare in what is the first of several very difficult conference games.
Ty Simpson probably got too much blame for the Florida State loss, and maybe, it seems like to me at least, not enough credit for how well he played against ULM and Wisconsin. Is that how you see it the last few weeks?
Yeah, but again, he'll be the first to tell you it's far better competition than what you faced in the Seminoles. But on the road, a true road environment, a true highly ranked now, and deservedly so, Florida State defense and squad overall did not handle it as well. It certainly didn't look as comfortable and as polished as he did the last 2 weeks. Yes, some of that is who you're playing. Some of that is being at home, but not all of it. And if he can carry that level of confidence, to me, that's the key. We know the execution capabilities there. If he can carry that same level of confidence into Athens and, again, get off to a good start, as he has done really all 3 weeks. I know we didn't score on the first drive against Wisconsin, but nonetheless, it's been a good start, first quarter anyway, for Alabama in each of its first 3 games. If you can find a way to do that against Georgia and then build off that, I think it could be another special day for Alabama against the Dogs.
Again, it's Alabama against Georgia coming up on Saturday. And Chris, maybe Alabama's getting healthy at the right time. How much would it mean to have Tim Keenan back for this defense and then Jam Miller back on the offensive side of the ball?
No question. And I'll start with offense. I think our running issues have not been the absence of Jam Miller, although clearly he helps. The line's got to do a better job in run blocking. Guys have to hit the hole, the right hole, right time. Jam, certainly the most experienced running back, will help the cause. But I think we've had some guys who've run the ball hard, who've run it well enough, had they gotten a little bit better blocking, to be more effective. But whether it's Jam, whether it's Kevin Riley, or any of the capable guys next in line, you got to do a better job for them up front. But that being said, the lift you'll get from having the veteran back and available, if that is indeed the case, huge. The same with Tim Keenan defense. We missed his vocal leadership in addition to his play against Florida State, just because the surgery had just happened. He wasn't able to make the trip to Tallahassee. They missed him on the sidelines, I think, during that game. Getting him back, just in that regard, was a lift for the defense in 2 weeks, but nothing compared to what, again, you'll face against Georgia, and no impact from the sidelines can match the impact he has between the lines. And to have him potentially clog up the middle for a Georgia team that does love to ground and pound, I think will be huge for Alabama and a big difference maker in the outcome of this game.
Realize it's still pretty early in the week. I don't know how much you got to see of Georgia against Tennessee a few weeks ago, but just what have you learned about the Bulldogs so far in 2025?
Still a resilient team, Roger. They had their backs to the wall on the road against a team that wanted to beat them very badly from a recent history standpoint, as well as for what it means right now in this season for those two teams as they start off conference play in the, I almost said the Eastern Division out of force of habit. Forgive me, I have to put a quarter in the jar on that one, I guess. But I think this is a very similar situation for Alabama as it was for Georgia a week ago. They've dominated Tennessee in recent history. Alabama's dominated Georgia. It's the first conference game for Alabama. You're going to Sanford Stadium to play this one. And would love to see a similar result, minus falling behind 21-7 in that ball game in the first half, as Georgia did against Tennessee. I don't think this Alabama team can afford to play from that far behind. Georgia was a more veteran, more experienced team that managed it better. I don't think Alabama can build that big a hole. Offensively, there's firepower to do it. Realistically, from a confidence standpoint, you don't need to put thoughts of Tallahassee back in your mind. And I think the defense needs to continue to be improving, solid, salty, as we've seen them the last 2 weeks. And I think offensively, confident, aggressive, successful early in order to have success again against Georgia.
Well, with this 9-game schedule the SEC is going to in upcoming years, we'll be playing in Athens a lot more frequently, seeing the Bulldogs more frequently. For you, we love hearing your memories. Let's first of all go back to 2008, the blackout game in Athens, and then the last time Alabama was there, it was a pretty rainy day for you on the sidelines.
It was indeed. 08 was very enjoyable. Boy, that was an electric atmosphere before the game, and it got short-circuited really quick. The final score was more respectable, but that was an absolute beatdown that John Parker Wilson, Julio Jones, and company put. And that was the game, historically, you look back. There was no title won by that team. The West was won by that squad, but they didn't win the league title. They didn't win the national title. But I believe that season and even that game set the stage for what was to come in the Nick Saban era. And the way they just absolutely dominated a very, very talented Georgia squad was huge. The game in the rain, Jake Coker solidified the fact that he was going to be the quarterback, and no pun intended because of the weather, sink or swim Alabama was going to do so with Coker as the QB. And he took leadership, took control of that squad in that game on that date, and, of course, led Alabama ultimately to a national championship in that historic game against Clemson that was a back-and-forth deal. But that was huge. And Alabama's had some other historically great wins. I saw one on replay the other day when Mike Shula was the quarterback, and it was an opening game of the season matchup. I think it was Labor Day, maybe, Labor Day night. Alabama and Georgia between the hedges. Bama with Ray Perkins as the head coach had led that one from the start, and with a minute to go, give up a block punt. Bless his heart, the freshman, I think, Chris Moore, who had a phenomenal NFL career and career at Alabama, but gets a punt blocked. Georgia scoop and score for a touchdown, and all those dog people were losing their minds, as the legend Larry Munson would say. But Alabama goes right down the field, and Shula leads the drive and connects with Al Bell in the end zone for the game winner as they just went through that defense like a hot knife through butter. It was a phenomenal final drive and was part of the legacy of Bama getting wins there when most people don't think they're going to be able to, or at a time they don't think it's going to be possible. There are a lot of people writing off this Bama team against this Georgia squad this year in this game, but hopefully this result will be the same as those, and we'll get out of there with a victory again.
We look forward to that coming up on Saturday. We look forward to tomorrow night. Hey Coach at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Coach DeBoer returns. That'll certainly be good to see. But Chris, also enjoyed your interview last week with the new president of the University of Alabama, Dr. Peter Mueller. I know you've gotten to speak to him a few times, but what was it like getting to see him in that setting?
It was terrific. There was only one disappointment in the whole deal, the fact that it's finally hit me that I have been around long enough that I am now older. And it's been this way for a little bit, but I'm older than the football coach, the basketball coach, the baseball coach. And yes, Greg, I remember the AD as well, but now I am older than the president of the University of Alabama. That stinks. That being said, I think he is going to be fantastic for the university as a whole, but continue what we've been so fortunate with in terms of having a president who is in lockstep with the athletic director and the athletic department to be as successful. He gets it. He understands what athletics means on a university campus, or can mean on a university campus, but fully what it means at the University of Alabama. He said it, we're the face, you're the front porch, if you will, for the university as a whole. It's how so many people initially get connected to your university or hear about your university. And there are so many great academic stories to tell in other aspects of the university that we're so proud of. But yes, athletics and specifically football lead the parade for what is a phenomenal university as a whole. And it's great to have a leader who wants to continue to build on that and help that be the case for years to come.
It certainly was a great interview, and not to keep score, I think Ashley Johnston's younger than me. Rob Vaughn and I think, graduated college around the same time, so we're doing okay from that aspect, but I'll catch up to you soon.
I'm just happy to still be here, period. That's the way I look at it as well.
We're happy as well. Well, Chris,
Thanks,
safe
man.
travels to Athens coming up this weekend. Look forward to what should be a great atmosphere. Alabama against Georgia. All the best. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, buddy. Thank you.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition, and triple header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
As we mentioned, that 2008 win was a lot of fun for Alabama and one of the early statements of the Saban era. The quarterback of that team, John Parker Wilson, joins us as our Crimson Tide legend this week to give us memories of 2008, plus a few thoughts from JP on what he has seen from Alabama so far this season. Here's our conversation with our friend The quarterback of that game in 2008 for Alabama, John Parker Wilson, joins us now as our Alabama Legend of the Week. And JP, it is great to see you, and it's great for the Crimson Tide to be taking the football team back to Athens. You excited for everything coming up on Saturday?
I am excited. I think it's going to be a good game. I think we got two good teams. Are going to face off in Athens. I know we haven't been over there much. I actually went to the 2015 game. I think it was the hardest I've ever seen it rain ever in one single day, but we got through it. So hopefully we can do it again this time.
Certainly look forward to it. And of course, we're talking about that great trip in 2008 when Alabama was undefeated going into that game against Georgia, a Georgia team that had a lot of hype around it as well. A very talented team, and Matthew Stafford as the quarterback on the other side. Just if you could, take us back to the week of preparation for that first trip to Athens back in '08.
Well, now that you talk about the week of preparation, I think Scott Cochran got kind of famous as he already was famous, but he had a famous quote talking about Georgia wearing the black jerseys. Y'all can find that on the internet somewhere. I'm sure. I don't know. They're not going to wear the black jerseys again this week, are they?
Unless there's a surprise up their sleeve. But again, I don't think Kirby would do that. We'll see.
It it could happen, but it was a time. So that was Coach Saban's second year. We were coming off six season the year before, so we were still trying to like figure out who we were. We had some good games. I think we opened up against Clemson that year, and then this was still kind of early in the season. We didn't know how good of a football team we were or we're going to be that year, and then what Coach Saban was going to do for the rest of the time. But it was a time for us to come together and put it out on the field. It was fun to go out there and still an unknown, unproven team to put it out and do what we did and really kind of set the tone for the rest of the season.
Well, you always want to start strong in a ball game like this, but Alabama jumps out to a 10-0 lead in the first quarter, eventually builds up to lead to 31-0 in the first half once you got to the locker room at halftime. So just from the offensive perspective, what was it about the scripting going into that game that allowed Alabama to get off such a good start?
Well, I think it was the season before, and then all the preparation off season. It was just kind of coming together, and it was one of those games where I don't think it was just me, but everybody on the offensive side and really the defensive side too was just in the zone. Like everything was clicking, everything was going like you want it to, like games typically don't do. But this was a game where we just hopped out on them and never looked back. I mean, the defense was in it. Offense put up 31 points. Thanks Julio Jones for that picture that's behind you on getting open, and it was just Roy Upchurch. It was Julio. It was Nick Walker was catching the balls. Everybody was involved, and it's a thing that doesn't happen very often when you're in the zone like that. But it was just one of those days, and we were able to close it out there at the end. They get a little close at the end, but able to close them out and put them away.
Yeah, it really was good to see. It was a really efficient game for you, passing, I believe, 13 of 16. And then just the running game you had to lean on. How much was the good balance responsible for how well Alabama played in that game?
Well, especially back then, this was, we were wanted to be a balanced team. Like we wanted to run it 50% of the time and throw it 50% of the time. And that was just our philosophy. Now it's much more of an air attack and passing. But the way our team was built with the defense that we had a great defense. It's like let's be really good at throwing and passing. We're not going to try to major one, and then let our defense play really good. And that was a big part of our success that year. Glenn Goffett, running back, Mark Ingram was a freshman, so we had a lot of good guys at a lot of different positions. We were just in this game, we were still pretty unproven at that point.
Yeah, pretty improving at that point. I believe it was the second SEC win that year. You mentioned the great starts of the year against Clemson certainly got people's attention, and then you get this win. Just what kind of confidence were you guys playing with after this week in Athens?
So now, okay, we're starting to put it together, and it's like we're looking around the locker room and saying, "Hey, we might be able to do something special this year." And kind of we're believing in ourselves. Where before, and even up to this point, is our heads are down. I don't even know what we were ranked at the time. It probably wasn't that high, but it's like let's put our heads down, go to work, and see what happens. And that was kind of Coach Saban's philosophy that year. Is like let's work really hard, and the scoreboard will take care of itself. And this game, kind of proved his point. Whereas if we just do the right thing, work hard, get ready for the week. Let's see what happens on Saturday. And it started to come together. It was fun. And, that was one of those games like at halftime, we're up 31-0, I think it was. And there's not a lot of coaching going on. It's like the players like pulling everybody to the side saying, hey, let's do this. We're doing it the right way. Let's keep the gas on the pedal, and get out here for a win. And that's what we did. And we just kind of kept doing that all season long.
Certainly did. That was your senior year. Is that one of the games that people bring up to you the most when they talk about kind of your best moments at Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I mean, got the Daniel Moore out of it, so it's definitely one of the top. To me, it was that one. We went to LSU, won in overtime down on the road, and then had to beat Auburn our last game that season where we hadn't beat them. They were Auburn was on a pretty good streak, so we had to knock them off after they rattled off a few wins. So yeah, that is definitely one of the highlights. I mean, it's kind of cool to have a Daniel Moore painting like that. And shout out to Julio, obviously, so for getting that done.
Absolutely. Again, a great moment for the Crimson Tide in 2008. You mentioned the trip in 2015, very rainy. Now here we are, 2025. Alabama's going back again. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the quarterback for the Crimson Tide, Ty Simpson. How have you seen him progress through the first three games this year?
I think he's progressed a lot. Like first game, first road start, Florida State. Obviously, we didn't play our best game, but the way he's bounced back and recovered, and really, I mean, he's played about as efficient as you could possibly play in quarterback. Didn't miss the ball against Louisiana Monroe. I thought he looked great against Wisconsin, just with his timing, his anticipation, knowing where his guys are going to be. I think he goes in this game with a ton of confidence, and I think he's earned it because figured out against Florida State. All right, now let's get into the season. I think he's done great. I think he's going to have a big game this week again, just because now they're opening up the offense to him. They're letting him cut it loose. I think we see the run game pick up a little bit, and I think we got a pretty complete team.
We're looking forward to Saturday. It's been a couple years since you've been with us in the booth on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Just how's everything going? You and the family, obviously, you're still staying as connected as you can to Crimson Tide football, but we miss you, JP.
I miss you too, guys. I miss being there on Saturdays and going on the road and staying in the hotel. Family's doing great. We got my oldest is playing tackle football now, so we're getting after it. He's pulling guard right now, working hard on the offensive line, and it's a blast. But I do miss you guys. Listen to y'all every weekend on the radio. So y'all the best. Keep it up.
Well, you're the best as well. John Parker Wilson, just thank you for the time given us. So we look forward to chatting again down the road. Roll Tide.
All right, Roger. Roll Tide, bud.
We appreciate the time of John Parker Wilson. We would love to see a similar result for Alabama at Georgia coming up this Saturday to what we saw with him leading the Crimson Tide offense all the way back in 2008. Time to take a look at our upcoming schedule, see what's coming up next on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Tomorrow night, Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa at 6 p.m. Central. We look forward to Coach DeBoer being back at Baumhauer's inside the restaurant. Should be a really good show there. On Thursday, we'll have Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. This show returning at 2 o'clock with a full preview of Alabama against Georgia, including some thoughts from Crimson Tide defensive back Xavier Brown and the voice of the Bulldogs, Scott Howard. Then on Saturday, football, Alabama against Georgia. 3:30 will be our airtime. A lot of pregame coverage to get you ready for, again, what's going to be one of the most anticipated matchups of the year for Alabama, the Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs from Sanford Stadium. Following the ball game, Coach DeBoer will talk about it with Chris Stewart on the Kalen DeBoer TV show that can be seen on our TV affiliates across the state on Sunday, available on demand, rolltide.com as well. And then on Monday night, Tyler Watts and I will talk about the ball game with Crimson Tide Rewind from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills starting at 6 p.m. And then after that, it's on to Vanderbilt week, full week of programming coming up as well. But for all the latest on Alabama football, you can follow us at UA_CTSN for the very latest on the Crimson Tide. That's going to wrap up this busy Tuesday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We thank all of our guests for today, starting with Germie Bernard from the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center, and then Chris Stewart and John Parker Wilson. We are so excited for what's coming up on Saturday, Alabama against Georgia. We appreciate all of you for watching. We appreciate our video producer, Ethan Carabin, for putting this show together, and we'll be back with you for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, coming up Thursday at 2 p.m. Central. Until then, have a safe start to your week. So long, everyone, and Roll Tide.